under 130. I remember seeing somebody sent some questions. Okay, yeah, we got some questions. R7, that's too far. There's a R4 question. We can look at that one. R4, this is number 46, and it looks like number 12. Oh, yeah, this is a test question. You know why this is a test question? Because it has what y'all hate, and that is what?
Fractions.
Fractions. And your teachers back in K through 12 told you to use a calculator, and we don't use calculators to do basic math, so we're going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. So I'm going to take my handy dandy and write this down. 5/6 -4 -1/3 and -1/3. Now let's say 5/6 -4 -1/3 -1/3. All right, let's go to our handy dandy. First of all, I'm going to draw a sketch of this so we know what it looks like. Let's see, it's going to be all over. So let's see, 5/6 is almost 1, and -4 is down here. And -1/3 is this direction, and -1/3. So it looks like to me we got a negative slope. We got a negative slope. So at least when we put out our slope, we know it's supposed to be negative. So this is x of 1, y sub 1. This is x sub 2, y sub 2. And m is equal to delta y over delta x, which is equal to parentheses minus parentheses over parentheses minus parentheses. And this is -1/3. And this is -4 over 1. And this is -1/3. And this is 5/6. Okay, so equals -1/3 minus 4/3, and I'm going to get a common denominator, and I'll tell you why when I finish the problem, why I'm getting a common denominator. So I'm going to go over here, and I got 3 and 6. So I'll put a 3 here and a 6 here, and I know that 3 will go into 3 one time, 3 will go into 6. 2, that comes down, and 1, so 6 is my common denominator. So I'm going to change everything to a 6. So I'm going to put a 6 here with a negative, a 6 here with a negative, and let me make sure I'm doing all my negatives right. Yep. And a 6 here with a negative, and a 6 here with a positive. So 3 will go into 6 2 times. 1 is 2. 1 will go into 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 3 will go into 6 2 times. 1 is 2. 6 will go into 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay. So this, it turns into a positive. So I'm going to take my handy dandy green marker, and I'm going to turn this into a positive, and that's going to be -2 plus 24 is 22, divided by -2 plus 5, or 2 plus 5 is -7/6. So when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the what? And since we got common denominators, what happens to those 6's? They cancel, Hubert. That's right, class. Thank you for the interaction. I appreciate that. And you're left with a slope of negative, which we said it would be negative 22 over 7. All right, so y'all check my work, make sure I didn't mess up anywhere. And I'm going to drop down here, and I'm going to use, well, I really don't have much of a choice because both of these points pretty much suck. But this one is less, you know, lesser of the two evils because this one is two fractions and both of them are negative. This one is one negative and one fraction. So I'm going to pick this one as the lesser of the two evils. And I'm going to move down here and I'm going to draw a line across. And I'm going to do 5, 6, comma, -4, and a slope of -22 over 7. And now we're going to do the point slope equation. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And I'm going to plug in, let's see, this is x sub 1, this is y sub 1. Y sub 1 goes here. The slope goes here. And x sub 1 goes here. So that gives me y plus 4 is equal to -22/7 x plus, and I'm going to put this in parentheses, 22/7 times 5/6. And y plus 4 is equal to -22/7 x. And I think 2 will go in here 3 times, and 2 will go in here 11 times. So that's 55 over 21. I'll be honest with you, I've never seen one this ugly before. 21, that's supposed to be a 1. And I'm going to bring this over. 21 times 4 is what? 84? Somebody check me out right quick. 84, that's going to be a minus 84 over 21. I'm going to make sure. 4 times 20, yeah. And it looks like our final answer is going to be y is equal to -22 over 7x. And 55 minus 84, let me see, that's going to be what? 29? Somebody help me out. -29 over 21. What is 55 minus 84? Somebody check me. Please. Okay, I'll do it myself. Thank you for the help and appreciative interaction. I'll just do it myself. Now stuff got past funny. Now it's getting to be aggravating.
31.
55 minus 84 is equal to -29. Now let's check and see. And I will tell you, I've never seen one on the homework so yucky. So I'm hoping I got it right because that's pretty yucky. So let's check it. As soon as I can pull up the, there we go. -22 over 7. Now we got that right. Now let's check it. I think the only thing you got wrong was this one right here. And that's -29 over 21. 29. Oops. -27. Oh, I didn't put the negative. I'm sorry. Okay, so we got it right. So that's your the y-intercept. The y-intercept exists, and its coordinates are, well, plug in 0 for y. That'd be negative 29 over 21. Negative 29 over 21. Well, if you plug in 0 for x, oh, the slope is undefined. The equation of the line in slope-intercept form, it says right here, select, fill in, if you plug in 0 for x, you get negative 29 over 21. So I don't know what they're wanting. 0, comma, b, 0, comma, and then put a parentheses after. Now that's, to me, that's splitting hairs. If you put negative, the y-intercept is negative 29 over 21. Oh, there. Okay, now this right here is a good test question I would put on a test. Y'all want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'll do another one. I think I got another one in here. Let's see, that was for Miss Ingram, or Mr. Ingram, and it looks like, hell, I don't know. Ingram, I'm just going to say Ingram. And this is for Miss Babineau. I'm going to delete this one. And Miss, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Babineau, that's that one. Let's see if that's the same one. Do. Yep, there you go. Go ahead and work that one. Give you, I don't know, give you 3 minutes. Get started on it. I'll put the clock in right now. 3 minutes. And you should be at least halfway through it by 3 minutes. If you're not, then you can just consider yourself what?
Stupid.
No, I never use the word stupid.
A failure.
A failure. There you go. Get ready for that cardboard box and that van down by the river. And some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Van down by the river? Nope. It's your parents' fault. I live in a van down by the river. I got COVID, sorry. Yeah, Ingram, I know 2 people. Well, I don't know the first one, but one is a older celebrity that used to sing back in the day, before my time, and their first name was Porter. And then I know a student from last semester, her name was Porter. So I don't know Mr. Ingram or Miss Ingram, I don't know. So kind of set me straight. Is that Mr. or Mrs.?
It's Miss Ingram.
Okay,
Miss Porter.
Miss Porter.
Yeah.
Miss Ingram. Thank you. I'll try to remember that. These names are getting to where you don't know. And that's always been, that's nothing new, because like I said, back a long time ago in the 60s, there was a singer named Porter Wagner. So that was in the 60s, and he was probably born in the 30s. So I think Porter was a name back then.
That's cool. Yeah, it's just a family name for me. So.
Yeah, my name and my son's names are all family names. So that's why you get a name like Hubert. I don't know why I was blessed with a name like Hubert, but I can associate with a boy named Sue. I can associate with a boy named Hubert. Okay, that's 2 minutes 40 seconds. So let's go ahead and start it. 5/8, comma, -3, -1/4, and -1/4. Now I will skip a couple of steps probably. I'm not going to write every single step down, but you should be able to follow it same as always. So M is equal to parenthesis minus parenthesis over parenthesis minus parenthesis. Notice I do not skip the parentheses. Like I said before, I've got several degrees and I've been teaching math for a long time. And I use those parentheses. Some of y'all have no degrees. You haven't done math all your life and you refuse to use those parentheses. Don't whine when you get your answer wrong. -1/4, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. -1/4 and -3. X sub 2, -1/4 and 5/8. And the common denominator is 8. So I'm going to change everything into 8s. Now you can do this or you cannot do it. I really don't care. I'm just showing you from the person's perspective that sucks at math how to do the problem the best way. And that's a negative. And this is a negative. And this is a positive. 4 will go into 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 will go into 8 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. 4 will go into 8 2 times. 2 times 1 is 2. 8 will go into 8 1 times. 5 is 5. And we take our handy dandy different color marker and we'll go with magenta. That's blue's cousin, right? And that turns into a positive. And that's the rule right there that a lot of people forget. So -2 plus 24 is 22 over 8. Divided by -7 over 8. And y'all check me to make sure that I'm not making a mistake, please. And when you multiply the divide, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. Take our handy dandy red marker. Excuse me. Take our handy dandy red marker. Oops, that's supposed to be 8 over 7, dork. And that gives me, again, M is equal to -22 over 7.
That's what I got, Hubert.
Good. Thank you. Who said that?
Lewis.
I can't see your last name, Lewis. Lewis what?
Palmer.
Okay, you realize these other students are going to get mad at you. You're supposed to be weaned on a pickle, Mr. Palmer. You're not supposed to talk to me. All right. So I'm going to pick a point. 5/8, -3. And the same reasoning, I think that one's the lesser of two evils because this is 2 fractions and 2 negatives. And M is equal to -22 over 7. Y minus parentheses equals parentheses times X minus parentheses. And -3 goes here. -22 over 7 goes here. and 5/8 goes here. Y plus 3 is equal to negative 22/7 x. Negative times negative is positive. 22/7 times 5/8. Y plus 3 is equal to negative 22/7 x. Well, I'm going to use my red marker. And 2 will go in there 4 times. And 2 will go in there 11 times. So that's going to be plus 55/4. I'm checking, nope, 55/28. And 3 times 28, somebody help me out, isn't it 84? Somebody help me out.
Yes.
84/28. Thank you for that, whoever said that. I wasn't looking at the screen when you said it. So y is equal to negative 22/7x. And I think that's the same answer as we got before, which was what? 29? I think it's 29. Come out with the same answer. Should you be using a calculator for this? No, you shouldn't. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to raise your hand and say, I'm using a calculator, but this is basic math. It's made up of basic math. It's not basic math as far as the methods, but it's made up of basic math. So when you use a calculator on this, you're basically telling me that you can't do basic math as a teacher. You're telling me that. Now, there's nothing wrong with you using a calculator to check your work, but when you depend on the calculator to do this right here, that's why you have trouble in algebra. And if you have trouble in algebra, you're going to have trouble in calculus. All right, let's move along. That takes care of those two 7.4 questions. Did that help y'all, for some of y'all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
All right, looks like we got another R4 question, 65. I don't know what all this is. Never seen that before. And when I haven't seen a question before, that's usually not good. But that's the R4 right there. So let's look at R4 65. That's like in the book. And this is number 16. I've never seen BE before. I don't know what BE stands for. A farmer buys a new tractor for $156,000. That's cheap. And assumes that it will have a trade-in value of 83 after 10 years. The farmer uses a constant rate of depreciation to determine the annual value of the tractor. Find a linear model. Okay, so this is 0 and 156. Now I'm assuming that they're talking about 0. I'm going to write this down and then I'll show you. 0 and 156. That's cheap when a good sized tractor is $250,000. And the next one is 10, 83,000. Now, I'm not going to even do anything else. I'm just going to go here, and I want y'all to tell me what you think you're going to do.
Hubert, are tractors really that expensive?
Oh, yeah. And you're not even talking about a combine. A combine can be a $500,000, $500,000. Now, that's if you buy a brand new one. A brand new one with all the bells and whistles that country folks need now. So I don't buy new stuff because, one, I can't afford it, and two, you know, with a diesel is usually not broke in until a couple of years after it's, you know, new. So with a tractor is different from a diesel truck. Diesel truck, you know, a couple of 50,000 to 100,000 miles, that's okay. But for a tractor, you're talking about 1,500 hours, 1,000 to 1,500 hours, it's broke in. So anyway, I'll shut up. Now you see what I did? What are you gonna do? You're gonna do exactly what we just did. Because you got two what? What are these called? 2 points. Let's look at the graph. Well, Hubert, that's up into the thousands. It doesn't matter. 0 and 156,000 is up right there. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 83. 83 is about half of that. So that'd be down right about there. So what kind of slope we got? Negative, Hubert. That's right,
Negative.
class. Thank you for interacting. Appreciate it, whoever said that. Thank you. All right, so go to work. What are you going to find first?
The difference.
Not the difference, but the what? Starts with a S.
Slope.
Slope. Thank you. I think that's what you meant when you said difference. That's called rate of change. Slope is equal to rate of change. You're going to find that out later. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. 83,000 minus 156,000 over 10. Wait a minute. Yeah. 10 minus 0. And yes, if you want to use a calculator to take 83,000 minus 156,000, I'm not going to say anything. All right. So somebody give me that, please, because I don't want to have to go through and pull up the calculator. What's 83,000 minus 156,000? Dang old 73,000 negative?
Yeah.
Somebody, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Negative 73,000. I'm going to show you a trick I learned in the war. When you divide by 10, you move the decimal one place. So I got an M of negative 7,300. Oh, crap. Negative 7,300. So somebody tell me what that means. That means for every year, that tractor is going to depreciate $7,500, $7,300. So now, y minus y sub 1, I'm going to use this one. Y minus 156,000 is equal to negative 7,300 times x minus 0. Y minus 156,000 equals negative 7,300 x plus 0. And bring the 156,000 over. Why do I keep having to write 7,000? 73, negative 7,300 x plus 156,000. Yeah, how would you like to make $1,000 a month payment on a tractor? That's about what it comes out to. Now, they're probably going to ask you, what will the tractor be worth, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to plug that in for X. and you're going to get the answer. So let's see what they ask. Oh, I hate when my head's try to get a headache. Linear model. V is equal to negative 7,300 x plus 156,000. Okay, I guess we didn't do it right, or I'm not. Okay, that x, I don't like that x. So that'd be t. Okay, they get a little bit persnickety, so make sure you look at the directions. There we go. There's the answer. What is the depreciated value 6 years after you bought it? So plug in 6. So I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to take negative 7,300 times 6 and add it to 156,000. So that tractor is worth $112,200. $112,200. Does that mean that you get that if you trade it in? Oh, hell to the no. If you trade that tractor in, they're going to give you maybe $100,000, $90,000 for it. Because what are they going to do? They're going to clean it up, vacuum out the cab, service it, and put $100,000 on it. Well, let's say they gave you $90,000 for it. They're going to put 100, maybe 102, and put it on the used tractor lot. That's the way the world revolves. But if you stay ignorant, you don't have to worry about it. Knowledge is power. Let's go to the next one. Does that help you out? Whoever sent that one? Okay, thank you. Miss Babineau, you don't have to answer because when Miss Babineau talks, you can hardly hear her. But Miss Babineau, just put in the chat if that helped you. I appreciate it. I don't know if it's her microphone or her voice, but you can barely hear her. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating a fact. All right, the rest of these are R6 and R7, so I'm going to wait. If you don't mind, Miss Hollister and Miss Babineau, I'm going to wait.
Yeah, that's fine.
Until we get there. So let me get rid of these and let's continue on with the PowerPoint on 5. I think it's R5. Yeah, R5. Somebody tell me where we got to the other day. Anybody? We got the parent graphs. Did we talk about, I think I told y'all to take home that and do those formulas. So that's where we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going back to the, can somebody, well, I'm just going to do another one. I'm just going to do another one and you can add it to what you're doing. So I'm going to take my handy dandy ruler and I'm going to make another graph. And this is important because this is how you apply what I'm teaching you now. Applies all the way up to calc and differential equations. So you just got in trig. Don't forget trig, but y'all don't have to take trig, but you still need to be able to take something and discern what it's doing by looking at it. That's what we're doing. So f of x is equal to x squared. So f of x is equal to x squared, and that is your basic model. So 0, 0, negative 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, and so on. 3, 9, negative 3, and 9. So that is your basic model. Now I'm drawing dot to dot because I want to do everything the same. So I'm just drawing dot to dot instead of drawing a curve. Okay, so that's your basic parabola. So I think I told you, I think I started with maybe magenta. I can't remember. And I said that I'm going, can somebody tell me what I did first? Did I do 2x squared or something like that? Yes,
I think it was half
Hubert.
x squared.
I'm sorry, what?
Maybe half x squared.
No, I didn't do 1/2 squared. I do that third. Usually I do 2x squared or 4x squared or, all right, I'm gonna do 2x squared. Y'all settle down, please. F of x is equal to 2x squared. Well, 2x squared, if you use your handy dandy -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Somebody, I think I did 2x squared, did I not?
Yeah, you did.
I thought I did. Okay, that'd be 4, that'd be 8. That'd be 2, 0, 2, and 8. So -2, 1, 2, positive 8, 2, and 8. I messed up this right side, so that right side should be out here a little bit. So I'm going to kind of compensate for this side by making it a little bit skinnier. So -1 and 1, 2. So there's 1 and 2 is right about here. And -1 and 2 is about right there, and 0 and 0. So that one, that parabola, again, it's not a V, it's a U, but I'm just showing you, what's happening here. All right, now, if you compare the magenta with the black, what's happening? Well, the magenta is being compressed along the x-axis. And what is it being done along the y-axis? It's being what? Stretched. TCH. Stretched along the y-axis. So you need to make a note. If A is above 1, then you have compression along the x-axis and stretching among the what? The y-axis, Hubert. Thank you. Usually when I pause and don't say anything, that's called a Q, Q-U-E. That means one of y'all need to interact with me. That's usually what that means. Interact, communicate, stuff that you do in the real world. Just want to let y'all know. Okay? So let's do another one. Let's do 1/2. Let's do 1/2 in like a green color. F of x is equal to 1/2 x squared. -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. -4 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is what? 4. -2 is 4. 4 divided by 2, 0, 2, and 4. So -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. Okay, somebody needs to mute their microphone, please. There's some background stuff going on. Next is -2 and 2. 2 and 2 and 0 and 0. Now, somebody tell me, I'll try to do a parabola here.
It's more wide.
Exactly. So, but I want you to put it in terms of compression. And A is between 0 and 1. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, think of your wrenches. When you get a set of wrenches, they go 3/8, 7/16, 1/2, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, 13/16, 7/8, 15/16. All of those are called proper fractions. Proper fractions is between 0 and 1. If you have a proper fraction as A, that means what's happening along the x-axis? It's being stretched along the x-axis. And what's happening on the y-axis?
It's widening.
It's being what?
Compressed.
It's being compressed. Now you need to write that down. Now, you use wide or narrow however you want to. I'm showing you what the book will use. Okay? Proper fraction means that you will be stretched. Stretch is a hard word for me to spell. Stretch along the x-axis and compress along the y-axis. Well, what happens if you, let's do an orange. Let's do y, and I'm just going to write this down. Y is equal to x plus 2 quantity squared minus 3. Well, I'm not going to do the table, but you can do the table. Y'all can do, well, let's go ahead and do it. X and Y, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. -1 plus 2 is 1. 1 squared, that's -2. 0 plus 2, 2, 4. 4 minus 1, 3 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 squared is too big. So I'm not going to do 2. Let's just do these. -2, -3. -2, -3. -1, -2. 0, 1. 1 and 6. And let's do a -3. -3 plus 2 is 1. 1 minus 3 is negative. So -3 would be a -2. So -1, 2, 3, -2. We've got a parabola going like this. So we've got a horizontal shift of 2 to the left. Remember I told you, write this down and highlight it. The horizontal shift is always opposite. The horizontal shift is always opposite. This is red, so that means you need to highlight. The horizontal shift is always opposite. So that's a +2. You got a horizontal shift of 2 to the left. And then the vertical shift is 3 down. And let's take a red marker and let's do f of x is equal to -2x squared. Well, that's just going to do what? That's going to take your 2x, your magenta, and it's going to turn it in what direction? The opposite direction. So if you have a negative, if A is negative, that means it's concave down. If A is positive, that means concave up. So all of these things tell you this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Finish writing that down. And remember, I'm showing you a whole review unit right here on this page. The whole review unit is right here, except for what I'm fixing to show you now. So I'll give you a few more seconds to write that down. And okay. So if I give you the following function, if I give you, here's what I give you on a test. As soon as I get set here, f of x is equal to -3 absolute value of x plus 4 minus 3. Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw the basic model. The basic model looks like this, because you know your parent graphs that I gave you, I told you to print out, and one or two of you did, the rest of you didn't. What does that positive 4 say? Well, that means 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that orange. I don't have to do this, y'all. You know this. I don't have to color things for y'all. And that is 4 to the left. And pink means 3 down. 1, 2, 3. 3 down. And that's our new vertex. Now we're not finished, because that vertex right here has been moved here. And now we're going to see what the 3 tells us. Well, first of all, the 3, I'm going to do that in yellow. The 3 tells us it's going to be compressed along the x-axis. That 3 right there is in yellow. And it tells, that's not the right color. Hold on. Where is my logo? A equal to 3 tells us that it's compressed along the x-axis and it's stretched along the what? The y-axis, therefore giving us a more what? A more narrow what? V. So we know it's narrow, but what does that negative tell us? That negative tells us it's opening up in the opposite direction. So the negative tells us, give me my blue. The negative tells us that it's opening in this direction. But the yellow tells us that it's going to be skinnier. And what this is called sketching a function. Just a show of hands. How many of you have done this before in Algebra 2, Algebra 3, whatever? How many of you done this before? Give me your virtual hands. Of course, if you had my 109, I know you did it. Okay, so you don't have to raise your hand now. That's 8 or 9 people out of 21, so that's half the class. A lot of people have seen this before. All right, just make sure you're fluent. Make sure you take your hands down. All right, make sure you're fluent. I'm going to do one more real quick to show you how it applies to other functions. Square root. F of x is equal to the square root, or 4, times the square root of x minus 2 plus 6. Okay, first of all, the negative 2, we'll do that in orange. The negative 2 tells us that we have a horizontal shift to the right of 2 places. Okay, the 6, get my green out, or not my green, my yellow. The 6 tells us we have a vertical shift of 6 places. Up. The 4, which we'll do in pink, the 4 tells us that it's going to be narrow. And that's pink. Where's my pink? Where's my pink? There it is. 4 equals compressed along the x-axis and stretched along the y-axis, which means narrow. Now, what do you mean narrow? Well, you got to remember, everything is compared to the basic model. And the basic model is on your family of graphs. And we know that this is positive. So positive means that it is going in the same direction as before, as the parent graph. So you draw the parent graph of the square root symbol. Of course, if you don't have the parent graph printout, then you don't know what it looks like unless you just remember it. The parent graph looks like this of the square root function. That's what the parent graph looks like. So we're going to shift that sucker 2 places to the right. So I'm going to take my orange pen and I'm going to go 2 places to the right. And I'm going to take my yellow pen and I'm going to go 6 places up. And that is my new vertex. So I'll put a black ring around that dot because that is the new vertex, or wherever the beginning or the vertex of your drawing. Now, the 4 means that I'm going to compress. So my function looks like this, but if I compress along the x-axis and I stretch along the y-axis, it's going to look something like this. Because this is going to kind of bunch up right here, and it's going to make this, it's going to kind of bunch up like that. So your graph looks like that. Now you should be able to do those with any function that you're given, as long as it's in this form. But some are not going to be in that form. What do you mean, Hubert? Thus completing the square. So let's look at completing the square, which some of y'all probably have never seen before because your teacher didn't want to teach it to you because you couldn't put it in a calculator. So let's do with completing the square. CTS, completing the square. You use completing the square as a means to find the intercept method, the x-intercepts, the vertex, and to get it in intercept form. It's the easiest way. The quadratic formula is used for decimals. So you might have had a teacher that beat you over the head with the quadratic formula. Well, that's fine if you have decimals. But if you don't have decimals, you use completing the square. I'll give you an example. x squared plus 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. Now this is in quadratic form. It is not in the intercept form that we need it in. What do you mean, Hubert? I'm trying to find it. Hold on. It's not in this form right here. F of x is equal to a times x plus h quantity squared plus k. This is called intercept form. Okay, here we can tell what the vertical shift is, what the horizontal shift is, what A is telling us, and that's what I just got through showing you. Now I'm picking up completing the square because completing the square is about the easiest one to show or how to get into this form. So that's why a lot of books use completing the square. So here we go. First thing you do is move C. AX squared plus BX plus C. So you move C. Well, there's only one place to move it. It's on the left, so it needs to go on the right. So X, I'm going to put move C. So X squared plus 3X plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. Let's change this to a 2 right now because we haven't. Let's crawl before we can walk. All right, and add blanks on both sides. So I moved the 7 over here, came a positive 7, and I added 2 blanks. And this is completing the square, so I'm going to put this in red because this is what you have to do to complete the square. You take B, divide it by 2, and square it. So this is part 1. Put a 1 beside that. And this is 2. Second step is to take B, divide it by 2, and square it. So in this case, 2 divided by 2 squared is 1 squared, which is what? 1. Now, can somebody from 109 or 110 tell me what that gives us on the left-hand side? Anybody? Shortcut. Thank you, 109 students from last semester. I appreciate you, showing what I taught last semester. You're welcome. Or number what? 2. Those shortcuts that you said, oh, I don't really need to lean them. I just use the reverse FOIL. Yeah. Well, sometimes you can't use the reverse FOIL all the time. Here you can, but here you can't. Because 1 times 7 will never give you a 2. So you have to use completing the square from here to here. And that gives us x plus 1 quantity squared. Is equal to 8. And I'll put right here number 3. Shortcut number 1 or number 2. Now at this point right here, you've got your intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to draw an arrow like that. And I'm going to keep on going with mathematics down here. But at this point, you can put it in this form. F of x is equal to x plus 1 quantity squared minus 8. That's intercept form. Now, I'm going to keep on going because I'm going to show you how to find the other things that I told you to find. One thing we're going to find is the vertex, which you can find here also. But I show students it's easier if you do it this way. Another thing you can find is your x-intercepts. the vertex is -1 and -8. You just take the opposite of both to find your vertex. -1 and -8. Take the opposite. Opposite of both. -1 and -8. You take the opposite of that one, the opposite of that one. X-intercepts, you solve for x. So x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to 8. Now, there are teachers that want it in radical form, that's called exact, and then there are teachers that want it approximate. I personally don't want radicals because if you walk up to an engineer at a construction site and you say, I want to move this square root of 2 times 4 times square root of 2 feet to the right, they'll look at you like you're a Martian, okay? You never use radicals in the real world. So approximate, that's why I like approximate. Now, for your homework and your test, it's going to ask for exact, which means they want this a radical, the 2 square root of 4 or 2 square root of 2. I'm going to do it the way I know how to do it, and we can do the radicals as we do homework problems, okay? I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to take the square root. Well, you'll see in just a second. All right, so x, take the square root of both sides. And that's going to give me x plus 1 is equal to, that breaks down into 2 square root of 2. I'll just do this right here. That equals square root of 4, square root of 2, and that's 2 times square root of 2, which is 2 times 1.4, which is 2.82. Positive or negative, 2.82. And then I'm going to subtract 1. X is equal to positive or negative 2.82 minus 1. And that's going to leave you with 1.82 and negative 3.82. And you also have a Y-intercept of -7. 109 people and 110 people, y'all remember this?
Yes, Hubert.
So thank you, Miss Hollister. I appreciate it. The rest of y'all suck. All right, so I've got my Y-intercept, I've got my vertex, and I've got my X-intercept. So now I go to my handy-dandy graph. And I do my Y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I do my X-intercept of 1.82, 1, 2, 1.82 is right about there, and negative 3.82, negative 1, 2, 3.82, and negative 1, negative 8. Something's wrong. That, oh, I'm sorry, 0, negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And your parabola looks like that. Now from here, you know that the domain, and a lot of this is in, this is review for a lot of you. Domain is all real numbers. Range is from negative 8 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to negative 1, and increasing from negative 1 to infinity. And the line of symmetry goes through x is equal to negative 1. Now, everybody in this class, this should be bringing back memories of Math 110 or 111 or Algebra 2 or Algebra 3 or Pre-Calc. Okay, this should be bringing back memories, completing the square. If you've never seen this before, then we need to get you on the right track by going over some more problems. And you might need to meet with me after class. But everybody, how many of you, let's see some virtual hands. How many of you have seen this before? Come on, all my 109s better say yes. Okay, good. That's at least 13. That's good. All right, so 13 out of 21, we're doing good. Well, that's just people that hadn't hit the button. I just wanted to get a quick readout. All right, so let's look at the slides. And we've got 4 minutes, so some of y'all don't start convulsing yet. We've already taken the roll, but that means don't convulse. Let's go to the handy dandy. Let's see, where is R5? There we go. Now you should be able to handle, now see, I don't use the quadratic formula, so I'm going to show you how to do this one. I'm going to start you off on this one. F of x are 3x squared minus 4x plus blank equals 2 plus blank. They already moved C for you. Okay, they already moved C. So all you need to do, you got a problem though. You can't do completing the square until you factor this out. So I'm going to factor that out. And whatever you factor out, you have to multiply by that right side blank. Whatever you factor out here, you have to multiply by that right side blank. Now that's the way I show it. You may have had a teacher in your past show you a different completing the square method. There are 3 or 4 of them out there. I choose this method. So now I can complete the square. So I go over there, I got to do b over 2 raised to the second power. So that's 4/3 over 2 over 1 raised to the second power. 4/3 times 1/2 raised to the second power. 2's cancel there. 2/3. What is 2/3 squared? 2/3 squared is what? 4/9. Now, some of you have no idea what I just did because you used the calculator to add fractions and multiply fractions and stuff like that. So you need to wean yourself off of that idiot box and learn how to do basic math. Don't need to raise your hand. Don't need to say anything. I can't see you, so I don't know what you're doing. So I'm not picking on you. I'm just telling you the facts. All right. So that's going to give you shortcut number 2 right here. So 3 times x minus 2 over 3 quantity squared is equal, let's see, that 3 will cancel that, they get 4/3, change this into 6/3, and 6 plus 4 is 10, so that's going to be 10/3. So the vertex in the Y-intercept, or the intercept method, f of x is equal to 3 times x minus 2/3 minus 10/3. And that's the intercept method. The vertex is 2/3, comma, negative 10/3. That's your vertex. And let's solve it. So I'm going to divide by 3, which means I multiply by 1/3. And that gives me x minus 2/3 quantity squared is equal to 10/9. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 2/3 is equal to the square root of 10 over 3. Bring that 2/3 over plus 2/3, and you can finish that by radicals or by decimal. Okay, that's what you do when you have a problem like I was just showing you. So just to show you that we are on track, that is what they're doing in one R5. And it looks like, I don't know how many, let's see. See, now they're showing you the family of graphs, and we've already done that. Okay, y varies inversely. I'm looking to see, there's the absolute value. I already showed you that. There's the square root function, but it's negative. We talked about negatives. Just trying to see where we're going in R5. Okay, I think we're good with R5. Let's look at R6 right quick. I know I'm 1 minute over, but I want to look at R6. And I think you said that is functions, graphs, and modeling. Yeah, that's logarithms. So we're going to go over logarithms next. So, all right, right now, I'm just going to go over this right quick. Right now, everybody should be working on R2, R4, and R5. Everybody should be working on those three. And I'm going over R6 Tuesday. So y'all got all weekend to work on 3 sections. Okay? Any questions? All right, I've already taken the roll, so you can leave. And if you have a question, you can hang around. Other than that, y'all have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too, man. Y'all be good.
You too, Hubert.
See y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Hubert.
Yeah, man.
I was looking at the schedule for this class the other day, and it might be
Speak
wrong.
up a little bit. I can't hardly hear you. What?
All right, I got you. I was looking at the schedule for this class the other day, and I could be wrong, but looked like it said there was a test this week.
Not a test. We don't. I haven't got to R6, R7
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just made sure. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about a test until you start hearing me say something about a test.
Heard.
And I don't mean this is going to be on the test. What I mean is, okay, so it's like we're getting ready for a test. When I start saying that, that's when you need to start worrying. But right now, you should be on R6 through, R2, R4, and R5. That's what you should be concentrating on.
Yes, sir. Hey, that sounds good. All righty.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Hey, you too. Take care.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Y'all have a good weekend.